It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's Expresso right here on SABC3. It's Monday morning, so time for us to talk relationships. I wonder why we always talk relationships after weekends, hey? Probably something in there.
Something that needs to be tackled.
Now, they say that if you notice something annoying about your new partner at the beginning of a relationship, that it will eventually become the deal breaker between the two of you. Does your partner have an annoying habit that's been bugging you since day one, or have they recently developed it and it's killing your spark? Now, if you have a question or comment, please do feel free to call us on 083 9133 3728. Here this morning to tackle this relationship conundrum, we have enlisted the help of leading relationship expert Paula Quinsee, joining us all the way from Johannesburg. Let's give her a huge Expresso welcome. Paula, thank you for being here.
Good morning. Well, you know what? When it comes to courtship, I know when you always put your best foot forward. You want to make the best first impressions, but eventually that dirty laundry has to be aired. When is the right time to, I don't want to say show your true colors, but to really show those habits that you have?
Yeah. I don't know if there's such a thing as a right time to let it come out. I think it kind of happens as you start getting more comfortable in your relationship and comfortable with each other. And then you kind of start being more of yourself, as opposed to in the beginning where you were putting your best foot forward and being on your best behavior because you were trying to impress your partner and trying to win their affection, so to speak.
Yeah. Now, it's a sign of letting bad habits creep into a relationship, you know, a red flag that things might be going downhill. And when we're talking about bad habits, I don't think we're talking about, you know, farting in front of your partner, because that's a normal thing. But like other bad habits, is that something you should be looking for?
So I think it depends on what the bad habit is. If it's a severe, extreme bad habit that can irritate each other to the degree that your relationship can fall apart, absolutely. But some bad habits can be prevented or can be rectified through talking about it and discussing it and understanding, well, what is it about the habit that's irritating me?
Yeah.
Now, there are a couple of bad habits, I'm assuming, like trust issues that can eventually, you know, ruin a relationship. But what are some of the, you know, how can you deal with these problematic habits?
So, understanding the bad habit, what it is. There's bodily quirks, there, as you said, burping and farting in bed. There's other habits that also are not necessarily that easily controllable. So, for example, snoring. There could be medical conditions behind some of those bad habits. But as soon as you start identifying a habit and that you are being irritated by it, it's to then sit down with your partner and explain it. And a lot of the time we focus on the what and not the why.
Yeah.
So, your snoring is driving me crazy. But the why is, well, you know, I can't sleep and then I feel frazzled and then I'm tired and I become this irritable person and I'm not nice to be around. So if you want me to be nicer and a happier person to be around, then how do we find a way that we can both win in this?
Yeah.
And it's working together ultimately at the end of the day.
I'm sure we'll get a lot of callers that are going to be calling in with a whole host of different bad habits. But some of the things that I know that women talk about all the time, things like not putting the toilet seat down, not taking the garbage out, like leaving your things lying around for both partners. I mean, those things can seem small in the beginning, but eventually it builds up a resentment that I keep asking you to do these things and you keep disregarding what I'm asking you to do.
And resentment is one of the key killers in a relationship. So it's really about not letting it get to that point, you know, and it's finding ways about how can you help each other and support each other in terms of changing those habits, because habits don't change overnight. They change over time.
Yeah.
So if you create a positive, supportive environment where you can help each other and support each other and also understand that, you know, no one's perfect. There's no such thing as the perfect person or the perfect relationship, but it's how perfect can you be for each other through supporting, caring, nurturing behaviors towards each other.
Now, Paula, how's the best way to go about it to address this issue with your partner?
I'd definitely say sit down in a calm, neutral environment. Don't do this when you are frazzled and at each other's throats and you're irritated and you just want to, you know, kill each other. Do it when you're in a calm, tranquil place, when you're in a good rapport connection between the two of you. And then sit down and really talk about it and put solutions on the table together so that you feel like you're addressing this together and it's not a you versus me scenario.
Yeah. And I always think, always tell me something when I'm full. Like, don't tell me things when I'm starving, because then you're going to get the hangry side. So feed me and then say, Leanne, This particular issue is annoying to me, but don't tell me on an empty stomach. Well, does your partner have any annoying habits that's been bugging you since day one, or have they recently developed it? Well, you can give us a call, 083-913-372. Our expert is in the house. But talking about food and being hungry, Ewan, what you got?
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Well, listen, we are back with relationship expert Paula Quinsee with us in studio, and we're talking about the ins and outs of bad habits that your partner might have in the relationship. So if you have any that you would like to discuss with us, if you've got a comment or a question, give us a call. Our lines are open, 083-913-3728.
Now, Paul, I'm going to speak about something that I've noticed in my own life as well. When you discover an annoying habit in your partner, why is it so distressful to you as the person? Because I know for myself, BO, body over, is a huge offensive thing to me. But is it the fact that we keep quiet about it for so long that it begins to build up this resentment and annoyance within ourselves?
I think because in the beginning stages, when you're so in love, we call it the romantic honeymoon phase of the relationship. And you look past those things because you're in that good space, that happy space, that loving space. But as your relationship settles down and you become more comfortable with each other, you start noticing these little quirks. And they didn't irritate you then, but they're starting to irritate you now. And a lot of the time we keep quiet. We don't say anything about it, hoping that it'll go away, hoping that they'll stop doing it, or because we're not sure if it really is that or if it's something else, or we don't really understand what the actual point of our frustration is. And until it eventually gets to such a point that we become resentful about it and we start simmering underneath. And I think that's key for couples, is to, in terms of communication, to start talking about these things and being open and honest with each other. But you can only do that when there is a sense of safety in your relationship, that you can have those open and honest conversations without fear of being judged or criticized, or that you're not good enough for your partner, that kind of stuff.
Well, our lines are open, so give us a call, 083-913-3728. If you've got a question for Paula, or a comment at least, do give us a call. Now, I want to know, let's say you've now identified, okay, this is a habit I don't think I can live with if we're going to be together. How soon do you bring it up? Because timing is everything. I know you said it needs to have a safe environment, but do you wait until your environment's safe and then you say it, or do you nip it in the bud?
So I think it depends on the relationship. Many people, before they go into a relationship, should do that work around what are my deal breakers when it comes to a relationship. So, for example, smoking. If one of your relationship deal breakers is, I don't want to be with someone that smokes, but then you meet someone and you start dating someone and you find out that they're a smoker, you need to decide then, am I going to forego this as a deal breaker and live with it, or is it a deal breaker and I'm going to walk away? So you need to have that sense of self first. And then when it comes to the relationship and you start identifying those and it is a deal breaker, you have a choice. And we always have choices. To either accept it, and because you care about this person and you're willing to work around it and find a way around it, or to walk away. But the sooner you bring it up, the better and easier it is to start working around finding a solution for both of you.
And of course, this is a very, very important topic, and we want you to give us a call, because these are the little things that niggle and, of course, find root in your relationship, and it just could end up being a bigger problem in the end. But Paula, is there any time when saying nothing at all is what you should actually be doing when it comes to someone else's bad habit or their quirk?
I think it's about picking your battles wisely. So some things is commonly known as, don't sweat the small stuff. Some things are, okay, so he's a little bit messy. He leaves his shoes on the floor, or she leaves the wet towel on the bed or the floor, and it's kind of all, is it a deal breaker? There's so many other good things my partner does, but we tend to look at the negative things and find fault instead of looking at the bigger picture and go, well, my partner does all of these things for me, and all of this outweighs this one little thing. So let me rather focus on this and bring the positivity into our relationship than keep focusing on the negative.
I love that. I want to talk to you about expectations after this. Expectations, I think that is a massive thing in all relationships. We're going to get into that, or maybe we should get into that right now, seeing as that we have about a minute. I believe that you come into a relationship and you already have a list of things that your partner should or shouldn't do. Like myself. How detrimental is this to a relationship if you already walk in there with all of these expectations as to what they should or shouldn't be doing?
I think if you walk in and you have those expectations but you don't share them with your partner, and they are not aware of what you're expecting of them, you're setting them up for failure, and you're setting your relationship up for failure. if you have certain expectations, you need to share that with your partner so that they can try and meet those expectations. But at the same time, you need to have realistic expectations.
Yeah.
You know, as I've said, there's no such thing as the perfect person or the perfect relationship, but it's how perfect can you be for each other.
Oh, I love that.
I love that
How
as
perfect
well.
can you be for each other? Well, we're going to continue our relationship talk with Paula Quinsee in a little bit. But when we go, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to head back to the kitchen where we're talking about frugal feasting with Ewan.
And then we'll also bring you some eco news, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you after the break.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and we are talking about annoying habits within your relationships. If you have any that your partner might be, or you feeling that towards your partner, give us a call, 083-913-3728. And I believe we have a call on the line.
We've got Siyabonga from Johannesburg on the line. Now, Siyabonga, good morning. You've apparently been having a situation for about 4 years with your girlfriend. Am I right?
Correct, ma'am. That's for sure, yes.
What's been happening?
You know, I've been together with this lady. She's from East London, and then we've been together for 4 years with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I spend too much time on the road. I'm a truck driver, you know.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, she'll shout at me, "Why are you not picking up my call?" And then I'm like, "No, I'm driving." You know, she likes to shout at me a lot.
Wow.
Okay.
And then, you know, it goes out. You know, if you're driving along stairs, and then you must not be stressed for such things, kind of, you know what I'm trying to say. Therefore, now, she shouted at me a lot, and then I feel like, you know, she's not the right one for me at times, really.
Wow.
It's so hurting because now, you know, when she shouted at me, I feel like I'm a small boy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What happens in a situation like that, Paula? I mean, you have your partner on the other end, you're busy doing your job, they're screaming at you on the line because you can't answer their calls, but you're driving.
So in this instance, you know, it sounds very familiar in that that's a smoke screen for what's really going on underneath. And what's going on underneath his emotional needs are not being met in some way, form, or shape. So because he travels a lot, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of connection and intimacy in terms of their relationship. And communication equals connection. And intimacy is that sense of closeness and being a part of a relationship and being close to your partner and being loved and cared for. And so for her, when she phones him, that's a form of connection, communication. And when he doesn't answer her call, it can feel like rejection. And it sounds like she's crying out for more quality time or more attention and for him to be present in the relationship. Now, obviously, his job doesn't necessarily equate to that. Yeah. So they have to find a way to work around that where they can have a stronger sense of connection and closeness and intimacy and communication in their time. So when he's home, how does he make quality time and spend time with her to make up for when he's away?
I want to ask you this question. It's been 4 years now of this happening.
Yeah.
What happens when learned behavior, because this is now how she communicates with him,
Yeah.
is this even possible? Because now for 4 years, you've been screaming at this person. This is how you communicate with them now. Can you even change?
Majority of our behaviors are learned over time, and that's why when it comes to changing habits, for example, stopping smoking, you do it over time because behavior change happens over time, not overnight. So she's going to have to learn how to stop shouting and how to start connecting and communicating with him. And he's going to have to learn how to stop shutting down and how to come out and start engaging and being present with her. And if they aren't able to do it themselves, then I would definitely recommend that they seek help, a counsellor or therapist in their area that can help them learn how to communicate better.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
that, and
Siyabonga.
thank you for your call. Our lines are open, 083-913-3728. Well, we have another caller on the line. We have Angie from Port Elizabeth. Good morning.
Good morning.
What is your comment or question for Paula?
Hi, Paula. I have my husband. He goes and he just gives money out to anyone, and it really annoys me. At the end of the day, we need that money, but he likes just giving it out to anybody. And the thing is that my husband has got friends, and they're not actually well off. So they actually, the way that I see it is that they're actually just using him for his money. And at the end of the day, I'm just worried that they're just going to take the money and run.
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one.
And money is a big one when it comes to couples in terms of the sort of, one of the big things that couples argue about is money and finances. And I would go back to the two different value systems. So obviously from the caller's side, money represents potentially stability and safety and security, and then the husband, it doesn't necessarily share that same value system. And for him, that's a way of helping others and doing good for others. And so discussing that value system and then seeing where they can find a middle ground in terms of what it means to her when he gives money away and what it means to him when he does that, and how can they find a way that he can reassure her in terms of safety and security and stability in their relationship, and where he can still feel like he is a generous, giving person.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Paula. Well, we're going to continue this talk one more time with Paula. Of course, these are little things that can end up being a powder keg, and we don't want that to happen. So give us a call, 0839133728. We're chatting about bad habits in relationships. But let's get
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Well, we are back with Paula Quinsee. We're talking about relationships, especially bad habits that your partner might have. Give us a call, 0839133728. Now, Paula, I want to know, as the person that is receiving the news that, let's say, I'm the annoying one, how's the best way for you to handle that once your partner tells you, listen, this is what I find annoying?
Well, traditionally, we take it personally. We see it as criticism or fault finding. And so that's the key, is to how to take that emotion out of it and be curious about it. I always say that conflict is not a bad thing. In fact, conflict is growth trying to happen because we're being pushed out of our comfort zones. So how do we look at that conflict or that feedback that we're getting and going, okay, what can I learn about myself here? What can I learn about my partner? And what can I learn about this situation? And how can I use that information or that feedback to be a better person, a better partner, and create a better environment in terms of our relationship?
I like that.
Paula, we've got a caller on the line. Penny is here, of course, with something that I think a lot of relationships go through. Your partner is always on the cell phone. Peggy, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm very, very good, Peggy. What is the situation?
You know, at home, when we're at home, my partner is always on the cell phone. I don't know what he's doing on the cell phone. I've complained about it. We've fought about it. It's like it's the thing that we fight about every day. And I don't know how to handle the situation anymore. Just the other day, I was telling him that it will end up breaking us up.
Yeah. Thank you, Peggy.
Paula, what advice do you have for?
Yeah, and social media is becoming the new silent partner in relationships. And social media is also a form of connection. You know, you're connecting with friends through those different channels that you're on, or people that are following you, or you're engaging with people. But I think it's about setting healthy boundaries in your relationship in terms of making time for us time, quality time, and making time for when you have your me time to be on your social media. It also depends on, you know, the level of health and quality of their relationship and their connection and their commitment. You know, are they making time for each other? Are they communicating about things? And I don't mean communicating around the typical chores in the household that needs to be done, but the real deeper conversations. And a lot of us don't review our relationships in terms of what's working and what's not working. We kind of sweep it under the carpet, and then when we have those disagreements because it's been festering, we pull it all out, and then the whole kitchen sink comes out and we start arguing about everything instead of the thing that started it in the first place.
And I think with women, somebody once said to me, we either become historical or we become hysterical. So what is the way that you would go about it, especially like in Peggy's situation or even in Angie and then Siyabonga as well, speaking to somebody and you're afraid that they're going to be offended, because a lot of times today people choose to be offended. It's a choice. So you choose, I'm going to be offended by what you say now. How does that not happen?
And it's very difficult because we take it personally. We see it as a personal attack. And so the person that's complaining, the first thing is people don't like to be nagged. And people don't like to be, you know, constantly finding fault at what they're doing wrong. So it's how can you do it in a positive way using positive reinforcement. So if you're spending time together and your partner is not on their phone, to say, you know, I really appreciate that you're spending time with me and that you're not on your phone. I'm really enjoying you being present in this moment and us spending quality time together. Where the girlfriend is always shouting at him, the times that she does speak to him nicely and communicate with him, to say, you know, I've really enjoyed the conversation that we've had. It's been pleasant not to have an argument between us. So when you reinforce positive behavior, the person will want to keep doing more of it because we all like to be praised. We all like to be told how good we're doing or how well we are at things.
Do we have another caller on the line? Okay. Well, but I also wanted to know, you know, how much time do you think we should use spending together?
As in quality time?
Yes.
Well, you know, every couple is different and there's no one size fits all. So it really depends on your schedule, on your jobs, family, etc. But, you know, couples therapists and relationships, people that work with couples and that always advocate date nights. But now date nights don't have to be at night. It can be breakfast, brunch, lunch, afternoon tea, sundowners or dinner. And it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be simply doing a picnic on your lounge floor. It's about what it enables, and that is quality time, spending quality time together where you are really connecting with each other. You're really feeling that closeness, that love, that care, that nurturing, as opposed to, well, you know, you're in the same house, but you're living separate lives.
Absolutely. I once read this book on the 5 love languages, and I think it's really important to know your partner's love language. Some people like gifts, some people like time spent, some people like acts of kindness. I think once you know how your partner communicates, that's also one step to having a healthy relationship as well.
Absolutely, because it's all about learning more about your partner, understanding more about your partner in terms of what they like, what they don't like, and vice versa. And once you get that recipe right, there should be less frustrations and resentment and more communication in terms of how do we handle disagreements in a mature way, where we're not there to break you down, we're there to lift you up, but at the same time try and get our needs met.
Absolutely.
Well,
Wow, that's
Paula,
quite
thank you so
amazing.
much
Thank
for
you.
joining us this morning. That's a wrap of our relationship talk right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And I suppose, you know, it's not just necessarily about the habit, but how you handle it. So thank you so much for all of your
Thank you.
advice.
Thanks.